Top 10 tragic elevator accidents caught on camera. Number 1, whiplash. Okay, I really feel like I have to say this after my last video because it cannot be a coincidence that over 80% of the clips I've shown of elevator fatalities and accidents have almost all nearly been from China. Whether it's a lack of routine maintenance protocol due to cheap labor costs or counterfeit elevator products being installed, if you're in China, for the love of God, just take the stairs because it could literally save your life. So with that out of the way, CCTV footage of a toddler in China was rescued unharmed after getting dragged up the doors of an elevator shaft by a leash. The footage of the incident shows the toddler hanging mid-air after she was dragged towards the ceiling when the elevator started moving. According to the news website People's Daily China, the incident occurred after the girl stepped into the elevator alone with the leash attached to her wrist. Her caregiver was standing outside of the elevator when the doors closed and started descending, pulling the toddler up towards the ceiling. Luckily, the elevator went into emergency halt after detecting unusual movement inside, leaving the girl unharmed but stuck hanging mid-air for several minutes before she was rescued. The incident has been widely shared on Chinese social media platforms as a cautionary tale to caregivers to always keep an eye on their children at all times. Number 2, a mother's touch. A similar accident caught on tape in China shows a mother and their young child waiting in an elevator room when the child begins playing with the door panel and elevator buttons. He more than likely malfunctions the elevator after repeatedly hitting the open and closed door options because moments later the doors unexpectedly open and the child's right hand becomes lodged in the corner of the elevator door. Luckily, the door's emergency response is triggered and the elevator shuts down for further inspection. Elevator maintenance workers attempted to free the child but unfortunately were unsuccessful, but luckily a group of rescue workers arrived to detach the elevator door and reportedly the child left unharmed with minor scratches and bruises. Number 3, fall from grace. Like I said earlier, taking the stairs in China could really save your life, and instead of doing that, this man took an accidental flight after a night out with his buddies. Late one evening, a group of drunk friends are seen messing around in the lobby of a karaoke bar on the 4th floor of a building. 24-year-old drunkenly kicks the doors to the elevator entrance and falls forward into the empty dark shaft. But luckily for him, the man survives the fall from the 4th floor to the 1st floor of the building. And fortunately, there were no life-threatening injuries apart from a fractured leg. Number 4, up, and away. Many of us have imagined what it would happen if an elevator malfunctioned while we were inside, and our thoughts usually focus on the elevator plunging downwards to our death and us jumping off of the ground repeatedly trying to predict the exact moment of impact. But in this bizarre accident, a man named Jose Acevedo was seriously injured when an out-of-control elevator shot up in the ascending direction, catapulting the man at top speeds from the 1st floor to the 31st floor and crashing abruptly into the roof. CCTV footage shows Jose entering the elevator on the 1st floor of a building. When Jose enters, the elevator malfunctions and begins to rise before its doors completely close, revealing the terrifying acceleration between every floor as the doors remain pried open. The elevator begins picking up even more speed and ascends 30 floors in just 15 seconds, roughly only taking half a second to pass each story of the high-rise building before crashing into the roof, leaving Acevedo seriously injured. And in the video, Acevedo can be seen attempting to push several buttons on the elevator's control panel. After reaching the 31st floor, the elevator crashes and Acevedo survives but is left suffering with head and leg injuries. Interesting fact, this is one of the only clips online of an elevator accident that doesn't originate from China. Number 5, speed demon. If there was ever a moment not to have an adult-sized temper tantrum, this would have been it. In this CCTV footage, we captured the horrifying moment when a wheelchair-bound man plunged to his death down an elevator shaft after he deliberately rammed the lift door in a fit of rage. Korean man just misses a lift in a shopping center after a woman inside presses the button to go down. It is unknown whether the woman purposely ignored the man and persistently pushed the close button on the elevator door. As the doors close, a split second before he reaches the lift, the man only known as Mr. Lee slams his automatic wheelchair into the plastic door panel. The 40-year-old presses the button quickly to no avail, and the elevator leaves him behind. Rather than wait for the lift to reascend, Mr. Lee reverses his wheelchair slightly and rams into the door aggressively, leaving a noticeable dent. Unsatisfied with his tame destruction, he reverses again for one more final crash. Emphasis on the word final because this time the doors give way completely and the man plunges to his death, wheelchair and all. He's believed to have fallen only about 20 feet before crashing onto the roof of the elevator car that descended moments prior, with the female passenger inside during the time of the accident. The incident, which happened in August of 2010, was caught on security cameras in the shopping center in Daejeon, South Korea. Police said the accident was caused by Mr. Lee's anger at the woman not holding the door open for him. And shopping center officials have vowed to strengthen and reinforce the doors of the lift to ensure that accidents like this never happen again. Number 6, close call. On March 23, 2019, CCTV footage in Shanghai, China show an elderly woman tripping over the entrance of an elevator just as she attempted to enter the lift. The malfunctioning elevator was already moving before the doors closed completely. Luckily, the woman managed to climb down from the lift before it crushed her and only suffered minor scratches on her knees. The lift was put out of use and the case is now under investigation. Number 7. Pulling your leg. This is another similar incident when an elderly woman, allegedly from either China or Taiwan, wasn't as fortunate as the patron in our last clip. CCTV footage shows the woman being accompanied with 2 other friends as she steps forward to enter the lift. She ends up tripping on the entrance of the elevator and the elevator room begins ascending upward, her leg being caught on the outside of the elevator door and is dragged up a couple of stories. Luckily, it seems as though there is enough space between the side of the elevator door and the building to allow some clearance for the woman to not have had her leg cut off by the ascending block of steel, and rescue workers were able to free the woman after the terrifying ordeal, and she left the scene of the accident without serious injuries. Number 8. Like a bird. In a more recent news story from this year, a 3-year-old girl fell to her death from an 8-story window after she was left alone when the doors on a lift shut before her elderly grandmother could get inside to accompany the child. As seen in CCTV footage from August 28, 2020, the girl accidentally becomes trapped by herself in the elevator when the doors close in front of her grandmother. Shortly after reaching the 8th floor completely by herself, the toddler manages to reach a 3-foot-high corridor window before falling from the 8th story of the building. Family members told the local news stations they were visiting the girl's grandmother on her birthday, and an unnamed male relative said, "We heard a loud thud on the ground when we ran over to look. She had already fallen from the window, and she managed to reach the window by standing on a skirting board." You can see from the surveillance footage that the accidents all took place in less than a minute. The 3-year-old girl was apparently able to easily climb out of the window, and reportedly local authorities, including government officials, are investigating the case. Number 9. Under my umbrella. CCTV footage shows us a young boy waiting in an elevator for his father to step inside. Taking longer than the duration of the elevator's doors remaining open, the boy uses his umbrella to stop the doors from closing, but to his surprise, they close anyway and the elevator begins its descension from the 26th floor. The umbrella dramatically rises up the slit of the elevator door before the handle snaps off in the process. The elevator then free falls to the 25th floor before its emergency stop is activated. The boy is now held captive inside of the elevator car and begins attempt to open the elevator door. Rescue workers arrived briefly afterwards and were able to save the boy, who suffered no physical injuries but was understandably emotionally rattled by the experience. Number 10. Meet the parents. Last on the list is this incident from where else but China. This bizarre and tragic incident triggered a heated debate online about whether it was by accident or a premeditated attack. CCTV footage shows a man and his father-in-law waiting for a lift in a residential building in Sangong County, southwest China. After what seems like an abnormal amount of waiting time for the elevator door on the left, the son-in-law decides to reopen the previously exited elevator door on the right and look inside the empty shaft to check for a potential problem. Suddenly, the father-in-law walks into the dark, empty room, thinking the lift had finally arrived. Before the son-in-law can react or help, the father-in-law plunges to his death. The son-in-law, surnamed Zhao, claims to be the community's electrician. He is quoted saying, "I forgot to tell my father-in-law not to walk in and I failed to stop him," which can be confirmed in a clip above where we see Zhao open the shaft cautiously, stepping back and seeing the dark, empty pit of abyss, but unfortunately his father-in-law wasn't as aware of his surroundings. He steps inside the room where he presumes the actual elevator car is located and plunges to his death. An eerily identical and equally fatal accident took place in India when CCTV footage shows the moment a man plunges from the 3rd floor of a hotel in the Jashpur district of India when the lift doors open without the elevator car being present. Though he was rushed to the hospital, the man was already deceased from the impact of the 3-story fall. So the next time you're waiting for an antiquated elevator car to reach your floor, make sure you check the landing before stepping inside and having an unwanted free fall experience like so many of these cautionary tales. So that's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed the countdown, make sure to hit the like button so other people can find the video and discover the channel. Currently working on a top 10 countdown of the most bizarre and unusual ways people have accidentally killed themselves, and I'm also working on a video of any true crimes that happened this past Halloween. I'm just trying to look at different crimes or cases that were committed or happened a couple of days ago this past Halloween, so keep an eye out for that. So those 2 videos are on the horizon. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one.